we have a special edition of Uncensored Sports, Episode 5, and we'll be covering last night's crazy Monday Night Football game, along with some MLB results that have major playoff implications directly, and we'll also cover Jeremy Fowler's report that Le'Veon Bell will be back in Steelers uniform Week 7. So let's get started with Monday Night Football, Ty. We both watched that game closely.
Let me add this type of shit.
We both watched that game closely. It was a great game, and I know
it definitely was.
I know you have some great takeaways. So tell me a little bit of some of your takeaways from that game specifically.
I mean, specifically in that game, I feel like the first 3 weeks, the Chiefs have definitely shown us that they are an offensive threat, definitely from passing. Not as much from running, because, I mean, Patrick Mahomes, he threw 13 touchdowns through the first 3 weeks, but they showed a different team last night. And, I mean, they showed that they... football, you know, like the little 5-yard passes, the small stuff to get you going.
Setting up bigger plays.
Yeah, and that's what it did. It said throughout the first 3 quarters, they did a bunch of small stuff, with especially big runs from Kareem Hunt, who played a great game last night. He had 19 carries for 121 yards, which is like we always talk about. You can't shy away from that running game. This is an amazing passing team with one of the best young quarterbacks in the league with Patrick Mahomes. And Kareem Hunt, he just put on a performance that relieved the receiving and the quarterback from having to make every play. I mean, it made the defense think twice, because they came into that game to stop the throw. Definitely, because Patrick Mahomes has been one of the biggest threats from throwing the ball this season. I mean, like we said, he had 13 touchdowns, now he has 14. And he just came in the game, and it just changed everything because Kareem Hunt played so well running the ball. I mean, like I said, Patrick Mahomes is known for filling up the stat sheet. But last night, like I said, the Chiefs did all the small plays for the bigger picture. He showed what you like to talk about, Brett, is poise. He was calm throughout the whole game. I mean, he didn't start off that well. He started off throwing 51.7% with only 151 yards and 0 touchdowns. That's not what we're used to seeing from Patrick Mahomes. Through the first 3 weeks, he played amazing. But at the end of the game, they were down 10 in the fourth quarter. He turned it around. He ended up scoring a touchdown, and he also ended up throwing 81.3% with 453 yards. And that's just on 2 drives. He outperformed himself all game in 2 drives, which is crazy to me. I mean, and after all that, he looked like a superhero after they won the game. But I know you have some other thoughts on the game. How do you feel about it?
Oh, well, I agree with you on everything you said. You're absolutely right. Coming into the game, Denver had to be focused on that passing offense of Kansas City Chiefs. I think they lead the league in passing offense. Patrick Mahomes, you know, he's just so calm under pressure, and I seen that yesterday, you know, at various points in the game, you know, and especially late in the game with the pressure that Denver was sending. But I want to talk about this Denver defense and a little bit about their offense later in the game. You know, in the beginning of the game, they started off, you know, playing coverage, obviously to try to stop that passing attack. But the Chiefs, as a good team does, you know, they looked at what the Broncos were doing defensively, and they made adjustments. It's key for every team in the NFL, making adjustments mid-game. And a lot of teams can't do that. That's why you see a lot of teams' record the way it is. And what Andy Reid decided to implement was more rushing attempts for Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt took that and he ran with it. Like you said, 100-some-odd yards. Exactly, literally. 100-some-odd yards, and Denver had no answer for that. Second half, they came back in, trying to make an adjustment of their own, stacking the line, rushing the passer. Von Miller wasn't really effective last night for a lot of the game. You know, and they stacked the line trying to stop that run, most importantly. And Patrick Mahomes, and also while stacking the line, don't get me wrong, you get to blitz the quarterback a lot. And to me, Patrick Mahomes answered perfectly, making the throws downfield when he need to. But I was a little, you know, for the first 3 quarters, I was ecstatic of what Denver's defense was doing to this Kansas City offense. And I'm like, man, this is a top-notch defense in the league. And it gave me some of those, you know, it reminded me why they're a top 5 defense in the league. Because they can, when they need a cover, they can cover. Bradley Roby back there, with a lot of those other guys in their secondary, they can cover those, those receivers of KC, and they showed that in the first 3 quarters. But Patrick Mahomes continued to make big throw after big throw after big throw on those 2 drives specifically that you were talking about. That really impressed me. I was very underwhelmed with how Denver approached their defensive, the defensive aspect of their game in that 4th quarter. And I thought they could have did a better job of scheming and not blitzing so much, because I think with that 4, eventually with Bradley Chubb and Von Miller, those 4 would get to the quarterback eventually. You understand what I'm saying? So I was a little disappointed in how Denver executed that defensive plan. As for the offensive side of the ball, Case Keenum is what we thought he was. A guy who can make some of those throws, but not all of the throws. And the moment seemed too big for him when he needed to make the throw. And the throw specifically came 4 minutes, last drive, last chance for Denver to win the game. A minute left in the game, 4th quarter I meant. Sorry. And with Demaryius Thomas beating the cornerback and the safety being late in coverage, he had the perfect opportunity to throw it to Demaryius Thomas up the right sideline. And what we seen was Case Keenum at his finest. Last year in the NFC Championship game, he underwhelmed. This year in a big game against the Chiefs, who are undefeated, in a big divisional matchup that can have major playoff implications in the future, he disappointed me. And that was a throw that any higher average to good quarterback can make in the league, and he didn't make that. And I know John Elway has to be thinking to himself, did he make the right decision by signing Case Keenum if he can't even make those big throws that Denver crucially needed late in that game to win that divisional matchup. So I mean, that game was so exciting, and a lot of praise goes out to Patrick Mahomes, and Denver for the first 3 quarters of defensive play. But in the end, it came down to the lack of offense that Denver has, especially at the quarterback position. But big shout out to the running backs from Denver. Phillip Lindsay and Royce Freeman combined for 136 yards on 20 attempts. That was super impressive to see that they have some kind of running game. Albeit through 2 running backs, they have some kind of running game that they can carry. And specifically, Royce Freeman, he had a run. It reminded me kind of Beast Mode's run against the Seahawks in 06 in the playoffs, where Beast Mode carried, 3 dudes into the end zone, and that's Beast Mode for you. But Royce Freeman, a young running back, after he had a lot of hype in 2014 when he started at running back as a true freshman for Oregon in that national championship game against Ohio State. He kind of fell off the map. But I'm glad he got a chance to show his talent in Denver, and I think they'll go they have a bright future in terms of running game coming up. But let's stay on the pigskin side of things. Yesterday, Jeremy Fowler of ESPN reported that Le'Veon Bell will be returning to the Terrible Towels Week 7. This has major implications for that AFC North, but tell me what it does for the Steelers in the long run. I want to hear that.
All right, I feel like on the offensive side of the ball, I feel like Le'Veon Bell is gonna make an instant impact. I mean, the first 4 weeks he missed, they really needed him. Especially, well, people don't think so as much in the first week. I mean, James Conner had a good game, but ever since then, he's been non-existent. We haven't heard much from him. Like, especially last game, he only had 19 yards rushing against the Broncos, and they end up losing that game 26-14. So I feel like as soon as Le'Veon comes back, as soon as he gets on the field, it's going to be an instant impact. Because let's be honest here, Le'Veon is the best running back in the game. He can, it doesn't matter what he's doing. He can bring the ball on the ground from the back, and he can also receive it. So that's such a threat, because that opens up more opportunities for the other players on the team, like Juju, and that opens up opportunities for Antonio Brown to get open. And that also, with this type of offense, because they have Big Ben, who hasn't been playing that good, but it's Big Ben, I feel like he's gonna get back into the flow. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now. But I think with all this firepower, there's no doubt in my mind that they put points on the board with ease.
And if I can add on to what you said, sorry for cutting you off, but what Le'Veon also brings is a reliable pass blocker out the backfield. Big Ben, we've seen a lot in late games, especially recently, last 2 weeks. Big Ben has faced serious pressure versus 2 very good defenses, and with Le'Veon back there, he can worry a little less, because Le'Veon, on top of being a great runner and a patient runner and a great receiver out the backfield, he's also a great pass blocker. He did that in Michigan State a lot for Kirk Cousins, and he's doing that right now. He's done it the last 4 years for the Steelers, and that's exactly why he's played this the way he's played, and why people see him and have him so high in terms of players in the NFL. He does a great job of everything. But what I'm looking at for Le'Veon Bell's return, and this is most important for the Steelers' long-term success, especially for the playoffs this year, is can the locker room put away personal issues? See, obviously Le'Veon Bell has heard the chirping from the people who feel like he should be playing, and he's heard support. But most importantly, the thing that I think surprised everybody in the sports world is his own teammates coming out and not having his back.
Yeah. Negativity speaks way louder than positivity.
And exactly. And negative attention is the best attention. And Le'Veon Bell saw that, and I don't think Le'Veon Bell was too happy. Although he's received some encouragement from players on his team, such as Antonio Brown. Those offensive linemen probably really hurt him in a way that he can't really trust. He can't really play for those guys every week. But I stress that Mike Tomlin gets everybody together for a team conference, and they let everything out. The best remedy to tension is to get everything out there, to speak up when you.
I think you made a big point. Antonio Brown stuck up for Le'Veon, and I don't think that's spoken about enough. I mean, everyone always wants to speak about, like you said, the negative stuff, because that's what's gonna bring views and attention. I mean, and it's sad, honestly. I think it's sad because there's probably a lot of players on this team, the Steelers, that stand up for Le'Veon, because he is the best running back in the league. And if you don't agree with him being the best, he's at least the top three running back in the league.
Top two, top three. So.
Yeah, so he's top three. So he deserves to get paid like a top 3 running back in the league. And the fact that they're not doing that, I think, is pretty ridiculous. And for an offensive lineman, especially to be on my team or his team, that's sad. That's very disrespectful, if you ask me.
And to add on to what you said about Antonio Brown, I think Antonio Brown stuck up for Le'Veon just off the fact that Antonio Brown has his fair share of bad attention as well. I mean, a couple years back, in the locker room after a win, he went on FaceTime Live. And you should never expose the fans until that personal aspect of the game. Yeah, Facebook Live. And you should never. What did I say?
You said FaceTime.
Oh, Facebook Live. Yeah, Facebook Live. He brought that into the locker room. You should never expose the fan into your inner culture as a team. So Antonio Brown is no stranger to bad attention. That's why I respected him a lot more for sticking up for Le'Veon Bell. I mean, especially from our side, as you see what happened to Earl Thomas on Sunday, we, as a collective group, me and Tyler, we believe that Le'Veon Bell should get paid, and I think a lot of people should believe that as well. And he will get paid by a team next year, and I don't think it will be the Steelers. But I feel like in terms of his success, and I think everybody should want to win games. In terms of Le'Veon wanting to win games and his success for the Steelers moving forward, they have to put that behind them and try to start new, so that the Pittsburgh Steelers and their terrible towel fans can see success and even the playoffs.
Another thing I want to add, because like you said, Antonio Brown's had his fair share of negativity towards him. But another thing is Antonio Brown isn't shy to asking for his money. He's the best receiver in the league, and he asked for his money too, and he got it. So I feel like that, stepping out, being one of the people on your team that got your money, I feel like that's good to see him standing up for someone that's not getting their money, and that you feel that they should get their money, because you got it. And he could have just brushed it off like, I got my money, I don't really care.
Exactly,
but he stood up for him still, and that's very respectful.
And that's exactly, see Antonio, and that's the thing that's the thing that nobody really talks about. Antonio Brown, the best receiver in the league, in my opinion, has received this payday already.
Yeah.
So he has received this payday already. So in terms of Le'Veon Bell, I can understand where Le'Veon Bell comes from with the payday. You know what I'm saying? So. But I also think the way Le'Veon Bell gets back at the front office and the teammates that criticize him is by playing well. When the team is losing without you and then they start winning with you, that means they have some type of gratitude.
Exactly. Who's the difference maker?
Exactly. Who's the difference maker? They're gonna have gratitude towards you because you're helping them win games. But Le'Veon can respond well by playing well. That's how everybody answers their critics, by playing the game well. People don't think you deserve a contract. You go out there and you play as if you deserve a contract. I've seen a lot of players do it over the past few years, and all of those players, I feel like they didn't necessarily have to do that. They could have took the Le'Veon Bell route and got paid the next year. but they all played and approved it, and some have worked out and some haven't. But Le'Veon Bell, bar none, is the best running back just because of versatility. And I think the way he proves these guys wrong, like I said, is just by playing well. And that's going to be crucial for the Steelers down the road. But as we leave one sport and join another, I want to get to some of the results in baseball, in the Major League Baseball, that have major playoff implications, starting with a game that is tonight. So let's talk about yesterday's games. I mean, like I said, it was an impactful day, and it had two games that directly affected the playoff picture and the playoff bracket. So let's start off with the NL Central, where the Brewers, who's only won the NL Central one time over the last 40 years, only one time, went up against the Cubs. Winner take the NL Central and can advance to the NLDS. And so the Brewers starting pitcher Jocelyn Chasson, he pitched a solid 5 and 1/3 innings and only gave up 1 run. He only gave up one run. So sorry about the background noise, guys. He only gave up 1 run, which came from a booming Anthony Rizzo homer, but it wasn't enough, as NL MVP frontrunner and Triple Crown hopeful Christian Yelich, along with Ryan Braun, who's had his fair share of bad attention too, has recently seen a resurgence in his career, and Lorenzo Cain, they all hit RBI singles to take a 3-1 lead and close out the Cubs and win their second ever NL Central. Now the Brewers will face the winner of the Cubs and Rockies game that comes on tonight. It's a wild card, winner take all game. Whoever wins advances to the advances to the NLDS to face the Brewers. And after that, we had a matchup out west in the NL West for the title, for the NL West title against the Dodgers versus the Rockies. And starting pitcher Walker Buehler gave the Rockies fits early and often, as he only allowed 1 hit on three strikeouts through 6 1/3 innings. On the other hand, Rockies starting pitcher Germán Marquez struggled early on, giving up 4 runs through only 4 2/3, and that proved costly as the bat stood silent for the Rockies until the 9th, where Nolan Arenado and Trevor Story hit back-to-back homers off of Kelly Jansen to try and rally. But by then, it was a little too late, and Jansen registered 2 strikeouts to close out the Rockies' chances of winning the NL West, and the Dodgers became the NL West champions. As I said before, the Rockies will now face the Cubs tonight in a winner-take-all game, which will decide who will go to Milwaukee. And as for the Dodgers, they expect to see ace Clayton Kershaw starting Game 1 against the talented young roster of the Atlanta Braves, led by future star and left fielder Roberto Acuna Jr. and stud second baseman Ozzie Albies. Tomorrow, tune in as we preview the Yankees Athletics wildcard game. But I mean, you know, obviously you're not a big fan of baseball, so I'm gonna get into this a little bit, okay? So that right there was just a recap of the 2 games yesterday, and I want to say, I think that the Brewers, who have been overlooked all season and expected to flop all season, they have a really great team this year. Starting pitching to hitters, as I said, Christian Yelich came this close to winning the Triple Crown. He came a home run shy and an RBI shy. He led the league in home runs. He led the National League in home runs. But what I see from this Brewer team is it really coming together to be a force this year. And I wouldn't count them out for a deep run in the playoffs. And as for the Dodgers, who won the NL West, I want to talk about this. They probably have the most talent from front to back in their roster. Starting pitching with Clayton Kershaw, one of the greatest pitchers to ever play. You know, he in my opinion, he's top 3 pitchers to ever play, just based off skill and numbers. And the mid-season acquisition of Manny Machado will prove to be key in this year's playoffs. He is a stud absolutely everywhere, on the offensive side, on the fielding side, and I think we'll see a lot of production from Manny Machado this playoffs as he gets his first taste of playoff baseball in his career. So that's it for the MLB wrap-up. Tomorrow, it will be the Yankees Athletics game. And we will see. We'll preview that tomorrow in tomorrow's episode from 5 to 7 on Uncensored Sports. And yeah, I think we'll have a lot to say about that game. But let's go to.
I mean, you did a pretty good wrap up there. I mean, I don't know what you said, but I mean, it was. Yeah. It seemed like it was more interesting. I mean, I've never listened to baseball that much in my life.
No, and then as for baseball fans, man, playoff baseball, there's nothing better. And I know you're a basketball fan, so you like the basketball playoffs, and even football playoffs are good. Yeah. But I've been to a personal playoff baseball game, the Yankees versus Twins,
Yeah.
back in '09.
You told me the atmosphere just in general is
It's
so much
ridiculous.
better.
You sit down against, you sit down with these strangers who you don't know, but in that moment of relief when the Yankees win, you come together as one, and you hug, and you embrace, exactly, as a fan base, and more importantly a family, because we all root for the same things. When they lose, we lose. When they struggle, we struggle, and that's something that should be said for baseball and every sport. A lot of people don't know the impact that sports got on people, but when you see your team win, there's no better feeling in the world. And I think
I've talked to you while you're Jets week, so.
Oh yeah, you've actually heard the direct result of my team losing. I break things, I go crazy, but that's just love,
You've heard me go crazy last week.
Yeah, exactly. When the coach lost, and that close nail biter, you know what I'm saying? So that was really a difficult it was really a difficult situation for both of us last week, being that both of our teams lost. But I think that's key for sports, to realize that, look, there's always going to be another year. The season is not over. There's always going to be another game, until the playoffs start. So we have chances to come back, and that's in any sport. So I just, first, me personally, I want to thank sports for giving us an outlet to talk, to say something about it, to root for something, to actually be, encouraged and be hopeful that we have something to lean on when things go wrong in our everyday life. Before we move forward, like I do every stream, I want to thank everybody who tunes in and watches this show. It means the world to us. We've been putting in work every single day. Every morning we wake up, same time, 6 o'clock in the morning, start our preparations. It's really hard work, but it makes it worth it to see you guys happy and you talking. It's
more or less not even hard. It's just we're not used to it yet.
Yeah, exactly. We're not used to it, and it takes a lot of time, So
I mean, today we did great. I feel like today we progressed so much more than the last four episodes.
Exactly.
Yesterday,
exactly. That's what I want to say too. We struggled a lot yesterday, and we want to come back today and give you guys a great show. Today it wasn't a lot of crazy stuff in sports, but we're gonna make up the time by talking about everything that you guys want to hear. And on top of that, we have a lot more stuff in store, including what we're about to get to, which is a question I have for you personally, Ty. Through 4 weeks, we've seen a lot of big numbers put up by different players. Who personally is your top two in the MVP race in the NFL right now?
Well, right now, I mean, my number one player, what I'd have to say. Anyways, my number one player, what I would have to say, would have to be Drew Brees right now. And it could be a little bit biased, but I mean, he's just been so efficient throughout his whole career. I mean, so far this season, he's throwing 76.8%. He's completing 76.8% of his passes. He has 8 touchdowns. He has a total of 1,295 yards. And that's not even to bring up the 2 rushing touchdowns he has. I definitely think that Drew Brees is on pace for another 5,000-yard season. And that in itself is just crazy. I mean, he's one of the most efficient players that we've ever seen.
Definitely.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he's leading the league in completion percentage, and at 76.8%, that's crazy. He's more than likely to complete 3 out of 4 passes, which is ridiculous. And that's also to thank his team, because he makes the best of his receiving corps. And also he makes the best of everything offensively, his whole situation. And I think that's just amazing.
That's true. And if I can add a little bit to Drew Brees, it's like you expect the quarterback to be so efficient early on in his career, like Patrick Mahomes is being now. But when you're so late in your career, and you actually kind of see the effort that New Orleans is making to conserve Drew Brees' legs, bringing in Taysom Hill, their backup quarterback, on multiple occasions to run different plays, trying to lessen the load on Drew Brees. But may I say, if longevity counts for anything, Drew Brees is one of the greatest of all time in this sports. He's been doing what he's been doing this year, every year, consistently, winning or losing defense. He does it every single year. Kudos to that man, because despite the lack of team help, that he suffered with like 3 years ago, despite the lack of team help, he still put that team on his back, still led him to 5+ wins in every year. So that's crucial for a team to have a reliable quarterback like that. Now continue in your MVP.
Definitely. I mean, to not take anything away from Drew Brees. I mean, the NFL is definitely, with these rule changes, they're definitely helping out quarterbacks. And that's also going to be fun to see what these younger quarterbacks do, because there's players like Russell Wilson and Cam Newton who are more, they're running quarterbacks, and they can do it on their own. And I think it's fun with all these. That's what makes football fun right now, because it's such a passing game and a quarterback's game. I feel like the future is just going to be bright for these quarterbacks, unless they do change the rules and revert them back, which I doubt is going to happen. It's a huge viewer move and a huge money move, which almost everything is in professional sports. But I'm going to get on to my next player here, and I'm going to switch sides of the ball, and I'm going to go to the defensive side. I feel like in second place, I would put Khalil Mack. He's playing out of his mind on the defensive side.
He's playing ridiculous.
I mean, ridiculous. I mean, he has 1 interception, 1 defensive touchdown, 4 forced fumbles, and 5 sacks. That's just through 4 games.
That's just amazing.
And he didn't even start the first game of this fucking season. But he's just been. I think the numbers speak for themselves. Like I just said, all of it, that's his stats, and the numbers just speak for themselves. And he's just been a one-man wrecking crew.
Well, if I could add on to that Khalil Mack talk that you're speaking of right now, man, the guy literally he changed that team by himself. Now, look, not to say Chicago wouldn't be a great team this year. It's just when you have somebody who gathers so much attention from the other team, your other defensive players can produce. The thing about this guy, what's so special about him, is that even with all the attention that the offense focuses on him, he still gets to the quarterback every game.
Yeah,
He's had 4 sacks.
He
has 4 sacks in 4 games. He's had a forced fumble in every game. He's even had a fumble recovery and an interception, which led to a touchdown. It was a pick 6, and it's just so impressive how great he is, how much of an effect he can have on his team. But past that, every team, I know the Packers were in discussions to get him. I know the Jets were in discussions, and trust me, I would love him on that team right now. Every team who didn't make an offer for Khalil Mack, they should realize that pass rushers are at a premium. They're the second hardest position after quarterback to find quality in, to find real true talent in, and that's different when it comes to the deep. You see what kind of impact a pass rusher can have on your team in Khalil Mack. He gets the team extra possessions. He always puts the rush on. He always does everything correct on that team, and he's helping out everybody else in return. So I think you made a great point with this one. This guy is a wild card for my MVP as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy that Oakland traded him. I mean, any problems that you're going through with a great player like this, especially like going back to the Le'Veon Bell situation, like you said, they need to bring Le'Veon Bell in and have a meeting to talk about it. Anything is fixable. It's just both sides got to be willing to fix it.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's definitely something that Oakland should have fixed, because he's playing out of his mind this year, like you said. He's an offensive coordinator's nightmare.
But let me get it correct though. He's playing out of his mind this year, and it's only getting national attention because the Raiders traded him. But Khalil Mack has played out of his mind since he's gotten
been doing this.
Exactly. And coming out of Buffalo, which is kind of a smaller school in the MAC division, is coming out of Buffalo. He really wasn't getting attention while in college. But when the draft combine started and people started seeing the real talent, some people were even willing to put him ahead of Jadeveon Clowney. 4 years in the future, he's a better defender than Jadeveon Clowney. He rushes the passer better than Jadeveon Clowney, and he has more Pro Bowl, trips than Jadeveon Clowney. So I think that the Raiders went the right direction in taking Khalil Mack after the Texans took Jadeveon Clowney. However, I hear John Gruden talking every single day about something with Khalil Mack, like he wasn't on your team, like he couldn't be making this impact for your team, your struggling defense, who gave up 300 yards to a rookie quarterback in Baker Mayfield. So Khalil Mack can be effective.
42 points to them too.
Exactly, and John Gruden, being the smart man I know he is, somebody I look up to as an idol in football knowledge in general, I'd expect him to be smarter with his handling of that situation. Coming in, the first person you should talk to is the best person on your team, not the quarterback. the best person on your team was Khalil Mack, and you let the best person on your team go for a first-round pick that you're not sure is going to be good, and a couple or 2 first-round picks, I believe it was. But even no matter if it was a king's ransom, Khalil Mack affects the game in a way that a lot of other pass rushers can't. So I think that was a huge mistake by John Gruden and the Raiders, and I'm disappointed in John Gruden and Reggie McKenzie, the GM of the Raiders, and how they handled what's his name? Khalil Mack. And how they handled Khalil Mack's hit. I was thinking about Kelvin. I was going to say Kelvin Benjamin for some reason, but Khalil Mack, because they could have handled that situation a lot better. And no, as many games as the Raiders had close this year, including a close game against Miami the week before, this one against the Browns that they won, those games could be easily won with a pass rush here, a pass rush there, a forced turnover here, a forced turnover there. And Khalil Mack could have been the production that you needed from the defensive side of the ball that they're not necessarily getting now. So I agree with your MVP front runners for so far through week 4. But I have...
I'm about to say, who would you like to...
Yeah, I have 2 of my own.
Well, who's yours?
I have 2 of my own. Let's start with the guy we talk about almost every week now, and it's becoming a habit for us to praise him. Let's talk about Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, top 5 in yardage. He has 1,200 yards so far through 4 weeks. He's number 1 in touchdowns. He has 14 touchdowns, an insane number through 4 weeks. But most impressively, and I think me and you both can agree on this, his turnover rate. His turnover. He has 0 turnovers, no fumbles, no interceptions. He's playing turnover-free ball, which is the key to winning games. And he's second in QBR, which a lot of people don't look at, but that's a microcosm of your whole game. So if you're having 126.5, which is his QBR, that means that you're playing nearly flawless in every single game. And that's impressive to do that through 2 weeks, but let alone 4 weeks. So I really see Patrick Mahomes as a rising star, and you never know. We've seen quarterbacks rise rapidly, and I wouldn't be surprised by at the end of this year he's in my discussion for elite quarterbacks. But I think I need to see just a little more games from him, and that aspect.
He definitely showed last night that he had what it takes to be an elite quarterback.
Yeah, to handle adversity.
We got to see the consistency.
Exactly.
I mean, if he can do this for the rest of the season, I feel like that'd be amazing. And then there's, at that point, no question that he's an elite quarterback. Because like you said, 0 turnovers, which as much as he's been throwing the ball to these great receivers that he has, it's still ridiculous that he doesn't have a turnover when, like we spoke about earlier, defense is coming to the game against the Chiefs like, okay, we got to stop the pass. He has 14 touchdowns for the season, which that in itself is crazy. He leads the league in that. Like you said, he's top 5 in yards. And I feel like he's definitely got a bright future as long as he just stays consistent. He keeps he stays calm and makes sure he doesn't let all the hype around the Chiefs and him get ahead of him.
I have to say, what I like about Mahomes, especially just morale-wise, he's a humble guy, and you can tell. And yesterday I seen a clip after Case Keenum missed that throw up to Demaryius Thomas, which basically ended the game. Mahomes hugged this random guy on the sideline. And that's the kind of excitement, that's the kind of player you want, that kind of humbleness that he has throughout the game. Never getting too high on himself, never getting too low on himself, always staying even keeled. That's so important to be successful in the NFL. In the National Football League, if your emotions are everywhere, the emotions will get the best. And you've seen that with examples like Dez Bryant, you know what I'm saying? Who's let the emotion, whether it's good or bad emotion, he's let it get to him in the middle of games, and the opponent can sniff weakness from that emotion. So I have to commend Patrick Mahomes on just his poise and just his maturity at such a young age. Let's not forget, he's not too far off from a rookie. He came in the league last year. He's second-year player. He backed up Alex Smith, who plays a completely different game than him. He learned a whole new offense.
He only played one game last season, and he even played good in that game. So
exactly. So and it's the same thing with Garoppolo in 49ers, who played well last season. But you see, this is why you never bring the jury out too early. Before Garoppolo tore his ACL, he was playing bad football. You know what I mean? But Mahomes, he played a great game last year. He's continued playing great games this year, and I think Andy Reid has set up the offense that makes it easier for Patrick Mahomes to read defenses, to make big throws. It is so impressive how Andy Reid has handled that team in Kansas City. But most importantly, Andy Reid's an all-time coach, and what you see out of that team is always head coach candidates. You know, as you see, Doug Peterson, the head coach of the Eagles, who just won a championship, right? He was the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. And John DeFilippo, he's gonna get a job next year. So, well, like Andy Reid is an offensive machine, and he brings offensive minds that can help young quarterback out, like Patrick Mahomes. But next, I gotta get to my front runner, the guy who leads the pack in front of everybody. And I know you're probably shocked, like it's not Patrick Mahomes. Well, no, it's not Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes not number one.
Okay, yeah, a lot of people. But I have a surprise for you guys. There's a team out in the West. You know, I don't know if you heard of them, but they're the Rams. And this year that means something. Opposed to years, you're right. That's what they would have said 3 years ago when they was in St. Louis. But
yeah,
they've significantly increased their performance, and that starts with head coach Sean McVay, who's made the game easier for my MVP frontrunner through week 4, Jared Goff. He's playing amazing football. Let's talk about the numbers before we get into the intangibles that we've seen from him from the first year to now. Jared Goff.
I thought you were about to say, before you start, I thought you were about to say Todd Gurley.
No,
but
Todd Gurley.
Go ahead.
Todd Gurley, like last year, he deserves some MVP consideration. I'll bring up a running back, maybe later on in the show, who I think is underrated and who can possibly have a great season from here on out. But Jared Goff, no introduction for him. And about 2 years ago, in the middle of the season, you kind of needed a lengthy introduction, a paragraph or two showing why he got drafted number 1. But Jared Goff, this year and last year, has been performing so well. This year, he's second in the league in yards with 1,406. He's second in the league in touchdowns with 11 touchdowns. But most importantly, you know, like you was talking about Drew Brees, he's been efficient, throwing 72 yards on completion percentage. 17%. That is so throwing 72. He has 72% completion percentage. That is so efficient for a quarterback like Jared Goff, who's still young, who's still learning. You know, he's only in his 3rd year in the league. He's still learning the game. You know, and I think if I can go back to that draft, the first 2 picks in that draft was Jared Goff and Carson Wentz. And I think that draft right there is the future of the NFL. These guys perform at such a high level, but Jared Goff specifically, he knows how to find his teammates. And I think me and you saw some of those throws, those big-time elite quarterback throws on Thursday.
Against the Vikings.
Against the Vikings. A couple to Cooper Kupp, a couple to Brandon Cooks, a couple to Robert Woods. But the point is that we've seen him make those throws that we've seen Aaron Rodgers make and Tom Brady. Granted, it's a small sample size, but we've seen him make those throws against great defenses like the Vikings are. And so, Jared Goff is my leading guy. But let's talk about the little things he does. Jared Goff has been more vocal at the line of scrimmage. You know what that tells me? I know me and you, our favorite quarterback of all time is the same person, and we know how vocal he was with the infamous, but the famous Omaha call that Peyton Manning used to do. Always making line adjustments, always trying to figure out the defense, always trying to beat the defense in a chess match, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. Pre-snap is a chess match. Who's going to bluff? Are they rushing? Are they going to blitz? Or what, are they stunting? You know what I'm saying? And Jared Goff, I've seen a lot, has done a great job of calling pass protection when needed, of switching routes when needed, of saying the simple things like kill, which usually means to, you know, reverting from a passing play to a running play. You know what I'm saying? And those things, as a third-year player or as a rookie, as a second, is so key. And the intangibles of Jared Goff has gotten so much better under who was dubbed the quarterback whisperer in Sean McVay. And this is not the first quarterback he's done this with. Kirk Cousins was mediocre before Sean McVay came. Kirk Cousins, you've seen consistent progress while Sean McVay was there in Washington. So he's done this with a lot of quarterbacks, and I'm just so happy that Sean McVay and Jared Goff found each other, because that LA Rams team, along with the Kansas City team, are two exciting teams. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the Super Bowl this year. I mean, we still got a lot of times that injuries happen. God forbid none happen to those teams or any team in general. But those two teams are, for both, the only 2 undefeated teams left. And let's get real, they look the best from in all phases of the game, special teams, offense, and defense. So those are my 2 MVP candidates throughout the year. From that,
I like them. Yeah,
oh, you like them?
I mean, like you said, Jared Goff he's been efficient this whole season, and
for sure.
He made those key plays specifically against the Vikings last Thursday, and it's just, you can see the potential in him. If they don't get to the Super Bowl this season, they can definitely get to it in the next 2 or 3.
And let me give an underrated aspect of both of these teams. The weakness on on I was about to say St. Louis. I'm still in my old ways. But the weakness of the Los Angeles Rams is that it was said to be the linebackers. And to me, the Los Angeles Rams have played well in every single phase on defense, including the linebackers. So that's been a pleasant surprise. But let's talk about what helps these quarterbacks succeed in the long run, right? Like, we was talking about it yesterday a little bit. When you have a good defense, it puts less pressure on your offense. But it also allows the offense to take shots downfield. And maybe that's why we're seeing an increase in yards, that along with the quarterback protecting rules, increase in yards, and an increase in throws and yards per catch and for those guys specifically, but in the NFL in general, because these guys have good defenses. With these good defenses, they don't feel so much pressure to have to deliver on every play. But then again, they do, because they know they got that defense to back them up, so they can take those big chances to these big-time receivers that they each individually have on each team. You know what I'm saying? From KC, they have Tyreek Hill, one of the most underrated players. You know, Chris Conley's performed well. And then for Los Angeles, they have three very great receivers: Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, the speedster, and Cooper Kupp, a great possession receiver who catches the ball very, he's sure-handed. And that's key. So I think we have to give a lot of respect to those defenses. You know, first and foremost, before we go to Jared Goff and Patrick Mahomes, for giving these guys the kind of leads that can allow you to take big shots and deep shots in the game. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to say about that. If you don't have anything else to say, I would like to continue on. From the players to the guys, like I was talking about Sean McVay, to the guys that coaches these players, I want to talk about 5 head coaches on the hot seat. Now, Tyler, I know you're not a big head coach guy, but I'd just like to hear one from you. Who's one guy that you feel, and I'll come with the other 4, who's one guy that you feel should be on a hot seat or should deserve to be fired at the end of the season, or is underwhelming you with the team's performance?
I mean, specifically from your end, I mean, I've been in contact with you every time the Jets have played so far, and you haven't been really happy with your coach's success. So, I mean, the Jets head coach, I mean, I don't know. How do you feel about that one?
Yeah, I'll go on for hours talking about this, but most importantly, what I want to say is that when you get a young quarterback, the Rams had Jeff Fisher. Jeff Fisher was a horrible head coach, by the way, but they had Jeff Fisher, Jared Goff's first year, right? Jared Fisher's a defensive mind, right? To suit Jared Goff better, they went out and got an offensive-minded head coach. And I think first and foremost for the Jets, that's what they need to do. But let's talk about the coach specifically. I love him. I've been on his bandwagon for 4 years, saying that he's the one that's going to change the team. But after loss after loss after loss after loss, it gets to a point where you're like wondering, is he really going to be that guy? And his expertise on the field is defense. And he hasn't put out a good defense in 4 years. And they may have not had the personnel 3 years for the last 3 years, but they dang sure had the personnel this year in the back end, especially in that secondary, to compete. They have an all-pro cornerback in Tremaine Johnson. They have a young guy, man. Somebody so talented, so fast. A young safety in Jamal Adams kind of reminds me of an Ed Reed kind of guy. You know what I mean? Free safety, can blitz off the edge. Not saying that he's Ed Reed. Don't misinterpret me, but he reminds me of a young Ed Reed. And I love that those guys back there, Marcus May, and we call that group New Jack City. But they've been getting jacked up every single game. A lot has not been shown on the stat sheet. A lot of throws have been bad by the opposing team. Ryan Tannehill overthrew a couple plays that our cornerbacks got burnt on. Tyrod Taylor overthrew Antonio Callaway 3 times after he burned Tremaine Johnson, our star cornerback. So I just think he needs to do a better job from here on out of getting the defense better prepared, because we know the offense and rookie quarterback Sam Darnold is going to be a process. It's going to be a process getting that back on the road and him feeling comfortable in that pocket. So I understand the offensive struggles, but the defense should not have struggles. And I know everybody makes mistakes. I know everybody has lapses sometimes, but when you have a continual lapse, it's not a lapse. That's what you should expect from the team. And I've come to expect
4 weeks now.
Exactly, and I've come to expect defensive lapses in every game. They played great in that Detroit Lions game. They haven't showed me much of a complete game since. They had a great first half against Miami as well as Cleveland, but they didn't show me any finishing, which was our problem last year. We didn't finish as a team, and they haven't improved on finishing the game this year, which is so disappointing, because I honestly felt like they took that next step forward. But hopefully we can get things back on the road. As I continue this NFL hot seat for the coaching.
Before you continue that, I wanted to add on, I mean, about the closing part, I agree with you, because, we watched the Jets versus the Jaguars game, And that's what you're talking about, right? You're talking about the Jets, correct?
Yeah, talking about the Jets, exactly.
Yeah, and we're talking about the Jets, like, and I mean, they didn't play the greatest defense, but when it got down to the red zone, I mean, they forced on the first two Jaguars drives, they forced field goals. Sadly, the offense couldn't, what's the word I'm looking for?
Capitalize.
They couldn't capitalize.
Yep.
Yeah, capitalize on that. But I mean, they showed like they got the potential to be that defensive team to stop teams in the red zone, because Blake Bortles was playing a great game that game in the receiving and all that, and they could stop them. They showed that they could do it.
Exactly.
But they just broke apart towards the end.
And this is what we talk about. The thing about head coaches, what you bring great head coaches in, is to put that potential on the field. You know what I'm saying? To speeding up the process and actually make the defense play well, instead of saying every year that they have the potential to be something. They have the potential to be something. They have the potential to be great. But they're not going to be great under a coach that keeps being conservative with play calling, or when he's doing too much zone. You know, he doesn't make adjustments mid-game, and that's something key that you should see throughout a lot of head coaches. I think that he's handled a lot of situations wrong this year in terms of on the field, including Sam Darnold. He's a defensive-minded coach, so he's basically giving Sam Darnold to the offensive coordinator and say, here, take him, run with him. And I think the head coach has to be heavily connected with the quarterback, because that's a matchmaking. That's like a, how you say this word? How you say this phrase?
Match made in heaven?
No, like an arranged marriage. Like an arranged marriage. So a head coach and a quarterback are like an arranged marriage. They're responsible for each other's jobs. If a quarterback is playing bad, the coach is going to bench him. If the quarterback is playing bad, more than likely that can result in losses, and head coaches can get fired from that. So it's so crazy how I've seen this for year after year after year, and there's been no adjustment. So I think Todd Bowles is he's running a really thin line, and if the team continues to perform like this, he's gonna be fired at the end of the season, probably even before the season starts. You have anything else to say about Todd Bowles and the Jets?
No, but I want to talk about another. I want you to talk about another coach that has been talked about or rumored that should be fired. I mean, the Patriots head coach Belichick. I mean, how do you feel about that?
Belichick being rumored to be fired?
I mean, no, because I heard that people were talking about that he should be fired for the simple fact that they lost the game to a backup quarterback last season, or the Super Bowl to a backup quarterback last season. Okay. They started off horrible at the beginning of the season. I mean, they blew out the Dolphins horribly, but like, it's the Dolphins. So what do you think about that?
Well, let's not get anything mistaken. Coach Belichick is the greatest football coach to ever walk the face of the planet.
Agreed.
And because I've heard some of those rumblings too, and more importantly, at the end of last season, there was a report that Brady and Belichick weren't as close as as led on the last 18 years. You know what I'm saying? They weren't laying in bed with each other anymore. So it's become a different situation in New England, and that's kind of the first time we've seen New England let something out of their camp that's negative. New England has always been really good with keeping the controversy away, except for Spygate and Deflategate away. They haven't. So it's no surprise to me how they've let this get out. But one thing I can say about New England is, through the adversity, through the Spygate, through the Deflategate, through the Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, beefing, they've always managed to win games. And even last year, that report came out before the Super Bowl, right? And they played very well to get to the Super Bowl. So that's surprising. That's not surprising at all to me. Belichick being fired, I don't think it's gonna happen, because anybody will fire their coach right now to hire Bill Belichick, and that's anybody. I'm talking about from teams with the best coach, Andy Reid and the Chiefs, or Sean McVay with the Rams. I think they will both fire their coach to get Belichick, because Belichick knows how to win games, and his composure on the sideline has always been key. He knows when to get angry at his players. He knows how to hold them accountable. And most importantly, no player is bigger than the team. He showed that by trading all-pro pass rusher Chandler Jones. Excuse my throat. All-pro pass rusher Chandler Jones. He's traded Logan Mankins. He's traded a plethora of great players to contending teams. He's about to trade Rob Gronkowski. Yeah. Until he's threatened to retire. Exactly. He has no... And I'm surprised he didn't trade Tom Brady last year when the 49ers came calling about a trade for Tom Brady. I mean, who would? Tom Brady's one of the greatest of all time. But in terms of Belichick being fired, I don't think Robert Kraft, the owner of the New England Patriots, will ever make that move, because he'll be done to make that move, and I think we can all agree. Belichick is going to forever be the greatest quarterback. I mean, the greatest quarterback. I wish. he's gonna forever be the greatest coach in the NFL until there's somebody who takes that reign. You'll have to do a lot to take that title from him. So
Yeah.
I think that's just a lot of smoke in the air, and I think New England will be a playoff team again this year. And if anybody thought differently, you're sadly mistaken. They do this every year. They start off slow, they'll pick it up, and they started this week with a dominant win against the Dolphins. But I mean, Tua has been used to controversy this year and a little bit in years past. I want to talk about Mike Tomlin. A lot of people think he's untouchable, irreplaceable. Mike Tomlin let this Le'Veon situation get way out of hand, and he's let this team get way out of hand, and that's not very good in keeping your job. That's not things you want to do in order to keep your job. Mike Tomlin has let this Steelers team slip, you know, also starting 1-1. That's not a good record at all to start the season, and
Yeah.
I think the Maras and the Rooney family, the owner collectively of the Steelers, I think they will pull the trigger on firing Mike Tomlin if this continues. That's why he should be.
I just want to add real fast, Brett, that I mean, it definitely doesn't help for confidence of a team to be the first team in almost 2 years that the Browns don't lose to.
Right.
They don't win it, but they don't lose. You feel
but
me?
guess who? Guess
But
who was
go
the first team
ahead.
they? Guess who was the first team they beat? I mean, you know. So
Yeah.
right, yeah. but off that, we'll get to the Jets a little tomorrow when we do my weekly picks. And by the way, before I continue about Mike Tomlin and the head coaching over there in Pittsburgh, I want to say that every Wednesday we do NFL weekly picks where we pick our winners of every game and we share them with you. And you guys can use it for anything, gambling purposes. No matter what you want to use them for, you can use them for whatever you want. I'm thinking about doing spreads, but I'm not sure about it yet. Me and Tyler have to go over that in production, but we're definitely going to be doing those picks. And I like, because Tyler's been getting in the NFL a lot lately, I like to think that you're going to do those picks with me and we can make a little game out of it. So we're going to start keeping track of these, and maybe we have a little friendly prize at the end of the season. But back to my time.
Small prizes though, more
small
like
prize.
$20,000-$30,000.
Oh wow, that's too small for me, man. I was thinking a little bigger, just a little bit, like 12 million.
30,000 million. Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. That makes a lot more sense for us, since we're so rich. But back to the Steelers and Mike Tomlin. I feel like as a coach, your job is to diffuse any situation that's coming out of your camp. With Le'Veon Bell being unsigned, I thought Mike Tomlin would be a guy, in his corner saying, let's get this guy signed, because he's crucial to Mike Tomlin being the head coach there. Le'Veon Bell, without him, they're 1-2-1. Right? Am I mistaken? Or is that a worse record than they had after 4 games last season and the year before? Mike Tomlin needs to be better, and he needs to do better disciplining his team. I mean, these guys are grown men, so they discipline themselves. But in terms of stopping the turmoil within the locker room, that's your responsibility. They don't only bring you here to coach football. They bring you here, to change the culture. And the Pittsburgh has been through a lot of bad attention lately. Like I said, Antonio Brown on Facebook Live, not FaceTime, but Facebook Live, and Le'Veon Bell this year and Le'Veon Bell last year, because believe it or not, the same situation that's happening now happened last year, but the only difference is Le'Veon actually held out this year and he didn't hold out last year. The situation has gone on way too long. If I'm Mike Tomlin, I go to the front office and I say, look, we need this guy in the contract, either sign him or don't, but don't lead us on, because I know that affects Mike Tomlin too. James Conner, like you said, only had 19 rushes yesterday. That's not going to do the job. And for the GMs and the owners to look at Mike Tomlin and say, you're winning with this team, you should be winning with this team. It has the offense to win. And mind you, Big Ben is closing in on the end of his career, so they have a small window to win games. They can't afford to be having seasons like this. So I think Mike Tomlin is one of those guys on the hot seat. And although it's unlikely to happen, I think we should keep our eyes out for firings before the season, and I think Mike Tomlin is one of those lead candidates. Now let me ask you a question about a coach that we're in New York, obviously, so we got a lot of New York games. Not that we've watched a lot of games, but we watched a couple Giants games. Pat Shurmur, a new head coach. People say it's unlikely for him to get fired, but with that offense and that quarterback, how do you feel about his chances remaining the Giants head coach in the 2019 season?
I mean, I wouldn't really know what to say, but I can say that
not to cut you off, but it's more about the performance of the Giants than it is the head coach, because head coaches don't play. So how do you feel what do you feel like the Giants need to improve on for him to keep his job?
Yeah, what they need right now is definitely it could definitely be play calling, which is fucking up the team, but I think they need a new quarterback. I mean, Eli had his great games. He has his two Super Bowl over the Patriots. He has all that, and I feel like it's time for him to head out. You know, he's getting older. However old he is, I'll look it up right now as I'm talking. But I mean, he's on the way out. He's not the best quarterback on the team, even probably. I don't know.
Exactly.
Like you said, we haven't really watched that many Giants games, but what I have watched is him underperforming the team and overthrowing and underthrowing passes that are easy passes for even an average quarterback or an above average quarterback. So
Exactly.
I feel like the first thing they need to work on is getting that quarterback position better.
And it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder about this last draft where they had a chance to draft Sam Darnold or Josh Rosen, and they chose to go with the running back, feeling as if Eli still has something left in the tank. And clearly through the first games,
Eli's 37 years old.
I mean, you know, and that's pretty close to the number that a lot of quarterbacks don't like seeing, and that's 40. And the only guy I really know who's played well in the 40, only couple guys I've noticed play well in the 40 is Tom Brady, who we're seeing now, and Brett Favre, and Breeze as well.
Breeze
exactly.
Is playing great.
And even Peyton to a certain extent, because Peyton kind of declined when in the 40s, but he played well, at the age 40. So about the Giants, like I said, it's gonna make you wonder, should they have drafted a quarterback over Saquon? And I think personally they should have. And I think Sam Darnold specifically, because Sam Darnold is a kid that can handle this New York media, and I'm happy to have him as my quarterback. But I must say, Pat Shurmur, who's an offensive-minded guy, he's bringing out a good defense this year. Their defense is not the reason why they're losing games. But when you have to continuously get stops and you're always on the field, it makes your defense look a lot worse than it actually is.
Yeah.
And that's the result of.
I mean, another thing is you said that you think they should have drafted a quarterback. I mean, them drafting Barkley wasn't a bad idea. I mean, cause there was a lot of decent quarterbacks in free agency this season. I mean, like Broncos quarterbacks. I don't know how the team is financially, because I don't really pay attention to the Giants. I live in New York, but that's not my team. But if they could have picked up a quarterback like Case Keenum, that'd have been a good pickup for them. I mean, he can make the average plays for you. He can keep you in the game.
And you see what he did with a spectacular wide receiver core in Minnesota, which is so impressive with Stephon Diggs and Cooper Kupp.
And none of them players are better than Odell.
Adam Thielen, rather. But none of them players are better than Odell. And they have a speedy tight end in Evan Ingram. Now they have their future in running back in Saquon. So I do get what you're coming in terms of free agency. My thing is, to counter that, I don't think they had the money, just because the last 2 years prior to this last free agency, they were spending a lot of money. They spent money at the defensive tackle position, at the defensive end with Snacks and Olivier Vernon, and they spent money. They spent money in the back in the secondary, with Janoris Jenkins. So they've been spending money on that team on the defensive side of the ball. And then this year they had money to sign a quarterback. But I think because they felt as if Eli had a couple more years on him, they went for the offensive line. They got the Patriots' reliable guy. So they got the reliable offensive lineman from the Patriots. I'm having trouble remembering his name right now, but he's a really quality guy. He's a top offensive lineman. But as you can see, the offensive line struggles still continue, and Eli, even with no offensive line struggles, can't seem to make the average throw. So, I think that's their biggest problem. I think me and you can agree on that both, that their biggest problem is at the quarterback position. So I do think. Okay, let me check this guy. Let me check this off for you guys. I do think that Todd Bowles, the Jets coach, will be fired at the end of the year. I don't think Mike Tomlin will be fired this year. I don't think Pat Shurmur will be fired. And after every coach and team review I go through right now, I'll let you know if I do think they will be fired. Next up, we have, if I'm not mistaken, Steve Wilkes, another rookie head coach from the Arizona Cardinals. This one I just put on there based off a record and how the team has performed lately. They have a good defense. They have great pass rush on Arizona. Chandler Jones leads that group. And they have a young quarterback who I know you like a lot, Josh Rosen, and I love him. Like, he's been my guy since high school, and when he went to St. John Bosco up in the Anaheim area of California. Like, he's been my guy. So, kind of a privileged kid, but the kid's talent speaks louder than any act he can possibly make. So, I want you to talk about, you watched a little bit of that Arizona-Seattle game. They have a good defense. They have a good quarterback. what do you think is their ceiling with Josh Rosen? You know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the team played good. I feel like, well, not as a team they didn't play good because they clearly lost, but I feel like the receiving core is kind of something that they definitely need to fix.
Sure,
I
for sure.
mean, with Larry Fitzgerald being on his last season, there are flaws in the receiving core. I mean, there were a lot of drop passes, which, like we said before, no one's gonna be perfect. But when it comes to a point to where we're not completing passes that are that look like they're first downs or easy catches like
Exactly.
that,
The
you're
gimme
getting
catch.
to a point to where you got to do something. Yeah, the gimme
Exactly.
catches. You got to do something at that point. When it's not the play call, it's not the offensive line, it's not the quarterback, it's the receiver.
Right.
I mean, that to me, that's one of the things they got to fix.
Right. And I agree. I agree with you. The receiver problem is a huge issue for the Arizona Cardinals. But I want to stress something bigger. Their offensive line. You have a rookie quarterback, and when you have a rookie quarterback on his rookie contract, you want to make sure you put as much protection, and no matter what you have to pay, no matter the price you have to pay, put the most protection, the best O-linemen around him so that he can succeed. And I think mine and yours goes hand in hand. You have good receivers, you have a good O-line, a quarterback is bound to succeed. And I think that's the two things that Arizona needs to focus on from jump. You know, this year I think they're gonna, you know, obviously they're gonna do bad. They don't have a team to win, and if they would have won a game, they would have won this last one against the Seahawks, who are just as bad as them, just with a better quarterback right now. You know, so
Yeah,
that was a game, that was a winnable game, and I think Josh Rosen did a wonderful job of keeping them in it. His numbers were really solid, 15 to 27. What was it, 180? You know, a touchdown and no turnovers, and that's key with these rookie quarterbacks. No turnovers. I think Steve
they're
Wilkes,
not making the stupid passes.
and I think Steve Wilkes, the defensive coordinator, or the former defensive coordinator of the Carolina Panthers, he comes to this Arizona team, and I think he really came because of the defensive talent they got. Although they got rid of Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu in the offseason, you know, they still have a lot of quality pass rushers in that front seven. They can get to the quarterback, and I think he feels like he can work with that. Only thing is that GMs are not so patient. They won't wait for you to succeed. They'll move on from you as fast as they hired you, and that's the problem with the league. And not only players are disposable, coaches are disposable too. So I don't think Steve Wilkes will get fired this year, but I think within the next 2 years, next 3 years, he has to show improvement with Josh Rosen and his Arizona defense.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
yeah, and then from there, last but not least on this list, another New York team. Tyler, you're closer to these guys, the Buffalo Bills and Sean McDermott, the old
Get that nigga the fuck out of here.
Yeah. the old defensive coordinator of the Carolina Panthers, right? Like we just mentioned with the Arizona Cardinals, head coach Steve Wilkes. Two defensive minded guys, right? So they got a new quarterback, got the talent, right? Got the talent at quarterback, got the arm talent, just may not have the intangibles yet. What do you think within the next 2 years that this Buffalo team will be? Like, just tell me, how do you see their ceiling finishing out this year and what they'll be in the future? You could be as blunt as possible.
By the way they're playing, they're at the beginning. They're at the absolute beginning.
He's being nice, guys. They're trash. They're trash.
Exactly.
Right? I'm not going to let you speak if you're going to take it easy on them.
They're at the absolute beginning of a rebuild, and I feel like in the next 2 or 3 years, they'll look like they're on the verge of being ready for a playoff contender. Not a champion, not a Super Bowl contender, a playoff contender.
Now he's being too
That's
nice,
about
guys.
as far as I think they'll get in the next 2 or 3 years. That's if they make the right moves in the offseason, get the right players around their quarterback. Because, like you said, they got the talent at the quarterback position. They just need to get the positions around him set and the defense and all that.
Okay.
The rest of the trashness.
All right, well, I like the way you talk just now, but I don't agree with you at all. When the Jets are doing bad, I gotta hear every analyst on ESPN and Fox Sports want to talk about how bad the Jets are.
We talked about the Jets, So, like, if you want to talk about, we can, shit.
No.
Like I said last time, I talked about them. They got.
It's open season. It's open season on Buffalo right now. I'm about to go crazy on them. Right? Look.
Go ahead. No, I'm gonna be quiet. Go ahead.
They've had a starting caliber quarterback the last few years in Tyrod Taylor, right? They've had a all-pro running back in Shady, right? They've had a defense. They had a defense to win. They've had everything they can possibly have to make a deep run in the playoffs. They have not, and they never will. God, we're talking about Buffalo, the team that lost 4 straight Super Bowls. You know what that's like? You can say the Jets haven't won one since '69, but
at the point of the third one, they like, all right, easy one, let's go.
That's some LeBron shit. Like the Jets haven't won one. I know that was a little picky right there. Look, no, let me finish. I know that the Jets haven't been to a Super Bowl since '69, right? But I'd rather not go to the Super Bowl at all than go every year and lose. And that's what the Buffalo Bills were. And not only did they lose, they lost to every single team in the NFC East. And let me bring this up before I continue with my point about the Buffalo Bills. What you just seen in Madden was a simulation of the New England Patriots versus the Indianapolis Colts, which is the Thursday night game.
Fuck you.
New England just beat the crap out of the Colts, 17-3, and I'd expect the same thing on Thursday. And if you guys don't know, TyThaGoat, Tyler Wilkerson, my counterpart, he's a huge Indianapolis Colts fan, and I don't know if he's expecting different. I wouldn't. But 17-3 seems a little bit generous for Madden. I would have went more like 31-3.
I want you to keep that same energy in a couple weeks when you see us. All right,
you right? No, we got y'all in 2 weeks, bro. Hey, you want to put money? We can put some real money on that one.
These next 2 games ain't winnable for shit. Fuck out of here.
Oh, they're not winnable? They're not. Are you trying to say this? Oh, this man's talking. All right, before we'll get into our little debating part, but let's finish talking about the Bills. Absolutely trash. Sean McDermott, I don't think he gets fired this year because I'm sure the Pagula family, the owners, they see a bright future with this team and Josh Allen. I think they'll give him a couple more years to develop Josh Allen. But you gotta wonder if they keep losing the way they are losing and getting dominated every week. The GMs might grow a little tired of this and not seeing no progress or improvement from game to game from Josh Allen. So I do think that Sean McDermott. But now let's get to it. You know what? Because this wasn't planned. This wasn't planned, chat. This wasn't planned, stream. This is gonna be our debate section. Who's better, the Colts versus the Jets? Who's better? Come on, let's go at it right now. I mean, like, why wait for 2 weeks? Why wait for 2 weeks? I want to get it in right now. Let's go. Let's go. Cause now you got me a little too hype, and now I gotta say, be on my bullshit. Come on.
Matter of fact, in my team's defense, we're gonna let y'all win the first 3 quarters of the game, and like you said, y'all can't close, so we'll just make easy pickings with y'all at the end.
Hey, look, I think Andrew Luck is gonna have a fun game, being that he likes to get hit so much. He's gonna get hit a lot, and we're gonna hit him really good. And
By who?
Hey, look, we've been generating some pass rush in the front. Our problem has been strictly in the secondary. This last game,
you talking about when Blake Bortles just went and shitted on y'all?
Hey, Deshaun Watson. I mean, what kind of quarter was that?
Blake Bortles shitted on y'all. What is Andrew Luck gonna do?
Blake Bortles. But who's division? But who won the division last year? Who won the division the year before?
Who just got shitted on by the Jaguars non-offense having ass team?
So you played them twice. You played them twice this year. I want to see how your team plays. But because I'm sure you're gonna get blown up. Y'all can't compete. Y'all can't compete. So don't talk about my team. And your team was as close to a victory as you can get, and then stalled. So I don't know why you're coming at my team crazy. But
at least we were close to a victory, bitch.
Whoa! We lucky we previewing that Thursday night game tomorrow, bro. Because I would have gave my predictions for what I think that score is gonna be, and nowhere close. So. But all jokes aside, I'm foul, bro, because you want to come at my team, But we'll get it. Well, let's get into the debate, all right? The Colts versus Jets. They play in 2 weeks, but me and Tyler obviously are anxious to get that preview started. We're gonna do another lengthy preview in a couple
Hopefully that's
weeks.
on TV for both of us. I know it'll be on TV for you.
For sure, and I'm happy it's gonna be on TV for me, and I hope it's not on TV for you because you'll struggle knowing what's gonna happen to your Colts. But
listen, bro. I'm gonna make some phone calls, and Warriors will be cut if it's not on TV for me.
Oh, really? So what you trying to say, bro? So you threatening my games, bro? You threatening my games right now, bro? That's something I can't. That's not acceptable right now. That's not acceptable.
You feel me?
Who do you have besides Andrew Luck? If you can name another wide receiver other than T.Y. Hilton, I'll give you $1 million. I'm not gonna put you out on the spot like that. I'll just tell you what my cornerbacks would do to those receivers. Although my quarterbacks have been playing bad, those receivers are not gonna get no air to breathe. And let's talk about.
You talking them up and then talking them down. What?
My
team is so good. They just been playing straight ass this whole year.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Let me tell you.
Matter of fact, if you want to start this conversation, go on that hour rampage that you said you can go on about the Jets. Go on that if you want to start this conversation.
All right, I'll do that. Are you willing to give me the reins right now? I'll do that. Matter of fact, I want to talk about the last time. I want to talk about the last time the Jets faced the Colts, because I'm gonna show you what that game was like. Boom. We won 20-7. We won 20-7, right?
When was it?
2015.
When was it?
Let's see how we did. That was 3 years ago, 2015, the last time the Jets saw the Colts. Andrew Luck, 21 of 37, 250 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. All over that ass, boy. All over that ass, boy. I don't expect
a completely different team.
I don't expect anything different. We lost the same amount of games that year that we're gonna lose this year. So look, we ain't making it to no playoffs. So we the same damn team. What we're gonna do? It's gonna be the same damn results as 2015.
I mean, I would agree with you if your team can finish a trade.
Oh, that you said we can finish a what?
A trade. If y'all could get someone in your team, Le'Veon Bell's out there. Y'all can go get him.
Is there anybody on your team that's clearly better than anybody on my team, with the exception of Andrew Luck?
T.Y. Hilton.
He's definitely not, bro. He's definitely not. So I'm just confused as to where your confidence comes from when it comes to the Colts versus Jets.
Because it's my fucking team against your team. That's fucking where the confidence comes from.
Hey, look. I don't like your attitude right now. So
listen,
pipe down.
Listen. If you lose your next game, I won't be here on Monday talking my shit.
So let's talk money. Like week 7, we play. Let's talk money. Let's talk money. We play the Broncos. We play the bum ass Broncos. We couldn't finish last night.
Get fucking won.
Oh, we're about to get
Y'all ain't got no one on the caliber of fucking Patrick Mahomes to do anything like that. Weak ass rookie quarterback. Fucking that nigga throw another pick 6 first play of the game.
All I gotta say is, all I gotta say is, my quarterback don't go on ski trips, so we ain't gotta worry about him missing 2 years in a row. Yeah, that's a waste of franchise right there. That's
my team doesn't lose the teams that haven't won games in 2 years either. So,
but y'all lose to teams who haven't won a game this season. I'm sorry.
I mean, I'd rather lose to a team that
shout out to Traffic.
Quarterback
shout out to Traffic. Who? Hey, chill. Shout out to Traffic, who's coming to stream again at the hourly mark. We just hit an hour 11, but we were so caught up in our discussion. I just want to thank everybody who's came out to the stream. Traffic, one of those guys who support us every day. So we appreciate you guys. We want to say thank you from the bottom of our heart for coming out to watch. Tyler is obviously mad right now that his culture is trash. And you know what?
I know you ain't talking.
So for the last hour,
when y'all beat the Browns, I'll talk to you. All right.
For the last hour, this is a new segment we've been working on. For the last hour, we want to do like a debate hour. So Tyler, Traffic, since you're in the stream, we know you always have a lot to say. You know, you go at it, bro. Like you cut. Should we invite him to the stream?
I mean, Tyler, just know how Brett feels as long as it's about football or basketball. You don't got shit to say. Kobe's in your top 3, so you can't be in the conversation.
So we invite him to the stream to have some conversations with us?
I mean, Tyler, what you want to, like, first of all, let's get a topic. Tyler, give us a topic.
Tyler, Traffic, give us any topic that's on your mind right now, and when you can come in the stream and you can talk to it about us. And that's the opportunity we're gonna give every viewer who has PlayStation 4 for now, because we're getting a better setup soon. But who has PlayStation 4, you can come in, and if you have a topic they want to talk about, you can come directly here. I know how much of a hassle it could be to be commenting your comeback while we already 3 subjects past that. So you can come into the party, and we'll allow you guys to have a conversation with us about the topic. And yeah, so
that nigga Tyler probably doing something. That's why he ain't commenting yet.
Okay.
I think he just got home. I don't know.
Well, so when Traffic is ready, he'll let us know. So Tyler, do you have anything on your mind that you want to talk about in terms of sports? You want to debate about or argue, or what did you feel were outlandish comment, like Kyrie's better than Steph?
I mean, no, you know what I do want to hear from you, though? I want to hear you talk about how your Knicks performed yesterday in your overtime win.
I seen those highlights directly after the game, and it's preseason, so, not a lot of weight or hell, but I did like the way Kevin Knox played. He looks like he's going to be a terrific player on the fast break. He has so much, like that Euro step that he does in the paint is so smooth for a guy his size. You know, and obviously we're gonna be missing Porzingis for the better half of the year and probably the whole year. But we have a lot of solid pieces. Tim Hardaway Jr. is proven to be a good wing. He can score a lot. Ennis Cantor, a solid center, a double-double machine last year. He played really well last year. You know what I'm saying? A couple surprises on our team. We got Trey Burke. He was a big surprise coming out the G League last year. So we have a lot of good pieces on our team. Just a young team. Probably not expecting to make the playoffs this year. But give it a couple years, man. We'll get there. The Knicks gonna have Kevin Knox, who I think is extremely athletic. He can shoot the 3-ball. So he's gonna have. I think he has a high ceiling. So does Porzingis. Porzingis gonna come back, and maybe, just maybe, you know, God willing, we could pair them up with the second best point guard in the league, and they can go crazy next year. So, and that's Kyrie Irving, by the way.
Oh, you trying to get Curry?
No, we're trying to get Kyrie Irving, that guy. So let me talk about you, since you want to put me on the spot from the Knicks, right? Let me talk about you. How do you feel about your Miami Heat going into the season? I haven't heard any talks about that Jimmy Butler trade.
I know. I'm mad that the conversation about the Jimmy Butler trade died down. I mean, I want to hear someone talk about that again. I mean, I want to know what happened, because last I heard, the Heat were in an aggressive. You said what?
I said the coach need a shooting guard. Can't do nothing else, right?
Y'all haven't. Listen, fuck you. All right, you're always talking your shit. I'm over here trying to be supportive of your team, and all you do is disrespect me.
Now we actually do support each other's teams. We just be going in like, this is what we do, and this is the part of the show where we want to actually show you guys more of our personality and how we act on a regular basis when we debate. And so let Tyler. We're gonna let Tyler get back to his Miami Heat spiel, and go ahead.
But like, anyway, like I was saying, I want to know what happened to that, because like last I heard, we were aggressively trying to get a trade going with that, which would have been nice, because I feel like if Jimmy Butler was to get traded, any team is gonna need that 1 year to get him the feel of that city, of the location, the teammates, and all that. Because a lot of rumors is that nigga's going to the Lakers or LA of some sort. Like, fucking dog bit. But anyways, he's going to like LA or something. And I mean, I think that we being in Miami, it's a nice play. Like, who doesn't want to go to Miami? I mean, he gets to play with his old friend D Wade and everything. But I think if we can get this trade to go through, you can't say shit, because the weak ass Knicks ain't got nobody. Porzingis bitch ass is out.
Let me just tell you what he said. He said, "Who wouldn't want to go to Miami?" Okay. I'll be back tomorrow with a whole list. It's gonna take 24 hours to make. I'll be back.
So you're telling me if you had a vacation, you wouldn't want to go to Miami? Like, that's what I'm talking about. Who wouldn't want to go to Miami? Not the team. I'm saying, like, who wouldn't want to go to the city, Miami?
I don't even know where you're sitting at.
yeah, that's my response. That's my response to everybody wanting to go to the Heat. Like, what, man? People.
I'm not, but like. Yeah, alright, listen. Yeah, you're right, bitch. There we go. Yeah, now I'm gonna talk my shit while he gone. The fucking Knicks suck. Porzingis ain't gonna be shit. Y'all ain't never gonna win a fucking shit. Kevin Knox is gonna get injured. God forbid that happens. I really don't want that to happen. But Kevin, that nigga's gone. He gonna get injured. I mean, y'all ain't got shit. Y'all ain't getting no one this off season. Yo, what's good, Brett?
I mean, I'm back, bro. You took all that shit. Took all that shit while I'm gone. Excuse me for the interruption. You know, regular life problems. But no. I definitely feel like Miami's a great destination to go to. You know, the only problem is the head coach and the team and the GM, and then even the city is kind of too wild. So I think everything is the problem in Miami.
Logo, everything.
So everything. Everything. D Wade. Look. How you gonna try to sell somebody to go to the Miami Heat when their pitch is, we got D Wade. Yeah. Yeah, we got D Wade. At least with the Knicks, we got Porzingis coming back. We just drafted a young guy in Kevin Knox. Who did the Miami Heat draft? Some dude named Bam.
Turn your mic off, bitch. Yeah, bitch. Fuck Kevin Knox. That nigga ain't shit. Fuck you talking about? Porzingis gonna be gone all season. He gonna come off next season. What a season after next, being straight ass because he ain't playing 2 years. Niggas trash, bro. Niggas is trash. I got Lakers in 4 every series. Don't care. I got you, Tyler. Lakers in 4. Come on now. LeBron season. I mean, LeBron wanted to play for the Heat. Clearly, someone would like to play for the Heat. I mean, if we got the best player on our team before we get it. What's good, Brett?
What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about? Well, you over here talking that shit when I leave. Well, what's up? Tell me what you gotta say. Tell me what you gotta say.
I'm saying, like you said, don't know I'm coming to the Heat, but I mean, we had LeBron at one point, so
LeBron left the first chance he got a chance to leave. Like, it's not like he stood and signed.
That's after we won him 2 chips, though, right?
The only person willing to stay in Miami is D-Wade. You want to know why? Do you want to know why? Cause the ice cream. Nothing that has to do with basketball. Cause the ice cream. They have great ice cream in Miami, especially on the beach. You want to know why LeBron left? Cause he had a better future somewhere else. Pat Riley is driving Miami down to the ground.
They get him to go back home.
I don't. D-Wade left. Look at that. Your own D-Wade left too. To Chicago, where everybody dies. My gosh, he left your city for the worst city in the world.
Yeah.
In terms of crime rate.
Shot, I don't want to be.
In terms of crime rate.
Tyler. First of all, Tyler, I just said Lakers in 4 every series. Fuck you. And I don't want to get shot with Brett. So anyone that watches this, he said it. Tyler is out of it. Me, myself, and I'm gonna.
And I'm out of it too. Sorry.
No, what the fuck you mean you're out of it?
Damn, trying to get me killed? That's foul. Just because the Heat is trash, you trying to get me killed?
You said, what do you mean? I'm not trying to get you killed.
All right, but you're outlining it. Are you not like bringing it to the forefront like that? Cause people could have just went past that. You're making it known that I said that shit. Right or wrong? Right or wrong? You are. He said. And look.
No, what you say? What about Chicago, bro?
I said Chicago's the worst city in the world in terms of crime rate, and even Tyler knows that. So it's not like I'm coming to Chicago. I'm just stating facts.
No, that's not what he said. I ain't never heard him say crime rate.
I swear on everything I love, I said crime rate. Hey, look, ain't nothing to play about, nigga. Them niggas ain't nothing to play about, nigga. I'm good, love. Enjoy. So
that's all I heard, Tyler. I think you might want to talk to him about that later off stream.
Hey, look. Let traffic bring up a topic. We'll argue about that. And I don't want to say debate because things just got personal. Yeah, I said that. Wait.
Ew, nigga, bro, it's crazy.
bro, you're really doing me dirty, bro. I can't lie to you. I'm gonna remember that shit.
Did you dirty? I didn't say it.
Bro, how you think the stream feels about that, bro? How do you think the stream feels about that?
I don't know how to be stream. How do you feel about Brett saying that? How you? You know, I just gotta make sure they know you said it and I didn't say it. So how do y'all feel about him saying it?
All right, fine. Tyler Wilkerson, said that Chicago's the worst city in the world.
No,
and I want to say I made a mistake. You know, I'm scared of Chicago. Me, Tyler Wilkerson, I'm scared of Chicago, and I have to admit that. I have to admit that.
Man,
oh, you saying you're scared of Chicago too, Brett? I know, cause you're like a calm guy, a nice guy who doesn't deserve to die now. So, like, but me, Tyler, I'm scared of Chicago. I don't want no parts at all.
Niggas ain't stream. Niggas ain't your niggas.
But you's the one. But you can bring up my shit, but I can't bring up yours. That's foul. I have to admit.
Niggas ain't your niggas.
Are Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, and Cam Chancellor first ballot Hall of Famers? First ballot, no. None of them are first ballot Hall of Famers. But Richard Sherman and Earl Thomas, they both can be Hall of Famers because their career's not over. Cam Chancellor, I think that ship has sailed just because of the neck injury that sadly, to one of the hardest hitting safeties, sadly ended his career. You know, shout out to him because ain't nobody in their prime, probably except for Ronnie Lott, could hit. You know, like that boy Cam could hit. So, no, they're not. Tyler, you have anything to say about that?
Would you let Cam hit you for $1 million?
I know Andrew Luck would. So anyway, anything you have to say?
Nigga, shit, let me get this 2 liters of Mount Dormy and hit the fuck out of me.
I swear to God, Andrew Luck can't play a good game unless he's getting hit. I swear on everything, he can't play a good game unless he's getting hit. Tyler know that.
That nigga ain't get hit one time on that last drive.
Why you think they lost? Why you think they lost? Why you think they lost? That boy, I don't know if you ever heard Andrew Luck mic'd up stream, but Andrew Luck mic'd up is like hearing, like you would think they're winning every game they play after he gets hit. Like, woo!
That nigga hit him with the Ric Flair.
He complimenting them. I could just tell the defense get mad at that. Like when, bro, I just hit you for you to get mad, and you get up talking about great hit. Like I don't want to hear that shit. I want to hear, I want to hear struggling. I want to hear you breathing for air. Like Andrew Luck get up after.
I heard I heard Andrew Luck's not really fond of our new offensive line. He said that they're blocking too good.
They're blocking too good. So yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, in terms of Andrew Luck, shoot, he needs that bad blocking. He needs pass rushes in his face.
I mean, like we said earlier, I mean, Peyton Manning, he famousized Omaha. All we hear is hit me, hit me.
Yep.
You feel me?
He's not lying, guys. He's not lying. He's definitely not lying.
Do you want to talk about the shit they say in Madden, Brett? Go ahead, talk about that.
The next topic. Now, guys, for those of you who come in the stream, be aware that yesterday was a slow day in the sports world. So, our first hour basically covers every topic that we had, especially the bigger ones. This hour is basically us communicating with the fans and just regular talk between me and him on how we feel about certain things. Like, we don't really talk about sports all day, just so we can talk about it right now. So,
yeah,
this is gonna be like this for the next 30 minutes. Anybody is welcome to say anything. We will definitely answer your questions. As you've seen, Traffic just asked me our Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, and Cam Chancellor Hall of Famers first ballot, and you know, so that's that.
But I'd be lying, bro, if I told you that two of the people in the stream want me, and one was Tyler.
I know that. I didn't think you was gonna say it. I gotta go back.
I'm only saying that because ain't no one about to comment.
No, I know. It's only traffic. Nigga, I know it's only traffic.
That's loyalty, Tyler. I fuck with you, baby.
We love you, son. I know you've been waiting to hear those words your whole life.
No, I'll take down the stream, Tyler. Sorry. That one hurt, bro.
So look, today, do you want to end the stream, Tom? All right. We have another man in the stream. Thank you for the stream. Thank you for the support, everybody.
Whoever viewing, for viewers, if you want to talk about anything,
thank you, baby. We appreciate it. Great show, y'all. We do appreciate it. Baby, talk to us. Like talk about your favorite shows or some music that you want to talk about. Let us know how you feel. Let us know how you feel. You better not call me after this. Let me stop. Let me see.
We both just sitting here looking at the one fucking
She
screen.
said LOL instead of seeing the question. LOL, let me think. Let me think what I gotta say. What's up?
I mean, Tyler, is there anything you want to talk about either? Anything else?
She says LOL,
I mean,
laughs and then dips. Well, that might be Tyler.
I mean, Tyler, if you were still in here, Tyler, the subjects we talked about are... We talked about Monday Night Football. We talked about Patrick Mahomes and how they played last night. We talked about Le'Veon Bell turning Week 7.
And our MVP candidates.
We talked about some baseball. We talked about our MVP candidates start through the first 4 weeks of football. So
and we named 4, so we can name those back for you if you want. Tyler said Drew Brees, Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
Tyler said Drew Brees and Khalil Mack, and I
Jared
said
Goff and Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, so what you think about our MVP so far, Traffic?
Tyler, what do you think? Who do you think the MVP frontrunners are through the first 4 weeks? Give us 2. Give us 2 players. Which I would take one of Brett's players over my player, Drew Brees, but I just think Drew Brees because he's so old and he doesn't have any season accomplishments.
Making him seem like he's 60. He's so old. Legs are wrinkled.
39. Yeah. He is though. Like the nigga don't got no real accomplishments besides the Super Bowl.
Traffic, you know I love you. You know you my boy. But Todd Gurley, he doesn't even lead the league in rushing yards. if I had to say anybody, I'll give it to Zeke, being that I see him doing real big things coming up. But Khalil Mack, I definitely would say Khalil Mack is in serious consideration for MVP, at least through 4 weeks of the NFL. Hey Tyler, how you feel about Todd Gurley? Let us know. Like, I don't really know how you feel about him.
Or Tyler, you want to join the party and talk about Todd Gurley?
Invite him.
Fuck him. I got you, Traffic, with the nice hot.
Yeah. So guys, we got a special guest coming in. Traffic underscore fatherless. He's coming in right here.
Oh,
Stop.
niggas ain't your
Oh, look, no,
niggas.
for all jokes aside, that's one of my boys. That's one of my best friends. I love him.
No, it's not.
Let's
After what
welcome.
he just said, no,
Let's
it's
welcome
not. I would
Traffic.
never disrespect Tyler like that.
For the 3 people who's
Look at
watching,
you
and 2 of them
started
are
it.
you, like, and one of them is him. Like, come on now.
The bitch lost his controller. He ain't joining. Join, bitch.
Tyler, join.
Join. I don't even think he online yet. He got to put on. I mean, today was, oh shit, he's in there. Be quiet, quiet, quiet.
Ty. Welcome Traffic underscore 23 to the stream, bro. How you doing today? He's hoping somebody comes and mimic he's hoping, hold on, let me finish my joke. He's hoping somebody comes and mimic his gamer tag the way Kobe mimicked Jordan's game. You already know, we already talked about that afterward. We all go, it's all love, it's all love. What you were saying, Ty? How to answer my question? How you gonna answer my question? So what means it? So what means it? No, I'm just saying, as a running back, I would think that I would think if... Yeah, no, he's been... You're pressuring me, alright? Let me finish. Let me stop. No. You think as a rusher, look, okay, at the backfield, right, there's a lot of receivers catching more balls than Todd Gurley. I would like to think that as a rusher, he'll be leading the league in what he does more than catch the ball, running the ball. And Zeke leads the league in rushing by 100 yards, so it's not really close. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure Zeke leads the league in yards, and he has the most yards from scrimmage this year. Zeke, and he had the most yards from scrimmage in a single game. Huh? The Rams have Jared Goff and the Cowboys have who? Okay. All right. Yeah. Hey, that's my argument. That's my argument. The Rams are 4-0 because of Jared Goff and their defense. Exactly. So, I mean, what's up, Ty? Come on, let's keep it going, bro. Keep it. So you think that Todd Gurley's a better? What, Todd Gurley's a better running back than Ezekiel Elliott? I'm Justin since they came in the league. Todd Gurley was they were labeling him a bust in his second year, right? He came back. He had an MVP season last season. But you know who has the most yards through the last 3 seasons? You know who has the most yards combined through the last 3 seasons? And he had almost 1,000 yards last year, missing the first 6 games. Zeke has the most running back yards, rushing yards through the last 3 seasons combined. Who wants this game? What does that mean? Zeke is playing behind a bad offensive line right now, missing their center and their right tackle, and he's still rushing for a lot of yards, still leading the league in rush. Hey, there's no such thing as barely winning in the NFL. Win is a win. Ask the Colts. Jared Goff. Let me tell you Jared Goff's numbers before you speak. All right, I'm about to break it down for you. Hey, I know you're not a crazy stat guy, but when you're talking about MVP, that's what they're gonna look at. You know, not you feel me? So, Jared Goff so far through the league, he's second in yardage for 1,406 yards, second in touchdowns, 11 touchdowns, but most impressively, he's throwing 72% completion percentage. 72, bro. 72. That says a lot. I think he's completing 70. He's completing 70. Yeah, I get it. That's the privilege of having a good running back. Oh yeah, and they did the same thing with the. Alright, so just think about it like this, right? They bring extra dudes in the box, right, for Todd Gurley, right? But now they have Jared Goff who can throw the ball. Just think about the Cowboys. They bring extra people in the box just knowing that Zeke is going to be the only reason why the Cowboys win this week. If they win. That means that they never switch it up. Anyway, next, why are we talking about the Colts? Let me stop. I agree with you. We agree with you. We agree with you. Yeah. You would think that they would think like, yo, let's give the ball to Zeke, but they're gonna come out and throw the ball more this week than they did last week. You would think the smart thing to do is continue to feed the beast, but you know what they're gonna feed? Dak Prescott, and that's gonna feed the secondary of the other team. So I realize, and I know, and I'm confident in Zeke just because of his body. He's much like Saquon Barkley. He doesn't really go down after first contact. I believe that Zeke can still make an impact. Like Tyler, you know this as well as I do. First down runs are so key, even if you're getting 4 or 5 yards, because it shortens the field for second down and third down. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I know you're a huge Buckeye fan. Hey, what you saying? No, it's all good. It's all good, Ty. We just happy to have you on the stream and actually have someone to talk to about this. Cause I know even you tired and debating. Yo, you tired and debating is still a pretty good. It's better than what we have with Tyler. No, that's for sure. We have the same record. How y'all better? Cause y'all lose overtime games. Woo! If I had to pick one person. But Tyler, you just said LeBron. You think LeBron is gonna win, right? But come on, how many times have LeBron should have won? Right. Exactly. I hear you. But like, I'm being. Let's see. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and I say James Harden. He repeats.
We all come to an agreement that Rookie of the Year goes to Ben Simmons, right?
Yeah, clearly.
Alright, cool.
Nah, I think Donovan Mitchell's gonna put up a good fight, being that Ben Simmons won his second year. Donovan Mitchell's trying to get that shit too. I don't know.
I mean, but then again, you're right, because like Ben Simmons ain't a rookie. Donovan Mitchell is. I mean, exactly. He got the hoodie and all the
proof. He's gonna get 6 man of the year too.
I wonder what he's gonna do with that hoodie. He made a whole hoodie saying I'm a rookie. It only lasted 1 year.
Like, he about to throw that shit out. Yeah, he about to throw that shit out.
Put it on when he start playing bad and shit.
Throw that shit out.
Put it on when he's struggling.
Can you imagine?
Most improved.
Most improved?
Most improved? Yeah. Isaiah Thomas.
That's
actually a good pick, but he's coming off the bench, so
Isaiah Thomas.
That's why I think. That's exactly why I say him. Because like, he's gonna have all the pressure. I mean, like the amount of hype he had coming in the last season off that injury. After having that big season on the Celtics, I mean, he had a lot of hype around.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna go a different direction.
For Kyrie. I'm gonna go he's in the footsteps of Kyrie. Go ahead, Brett.
I'm gonna go a different direction. I'm gonna go a Boston Celtic, man. I'm gonna go Gordon Hayward. I think Gordon Hayward, his process is gonna be a little faster. I think he's gonna score a lot.
Definitely. I mean, he it's not hard to really improve from not fucking playing.
Oh well, still. I mean, in those 2 minutes he played, he averaged 1 broken ankle and no push.
That being said, But if you would go Gordon Hayward, I would go with Kawhi Leonard in that case. Like, that's what.
Oh, okay. I see.
No,
what you, okay,
I don't
see
think
what
he's
you're
dead
saying.
ass. You're not dead ass
Nah,
serious
no,
right now
bro,
with
I
that
wasn't
pick
serious.
because
Bro,
you
I
was all
wasn't
I'm about to
serious.
say.
I wasn't serious.
Oh, I came on serious. I'm like, I ain't.
It was supposed to be a joke on the ankle, and
Alright,
then y'all took it
Mr.
serious.
Tired head.
Y'all took it.
I didn't take it fucking serious, nigga.
Tyler's leaving?
No, he's tired.
Oh, I thought you said
tired.
leaving because he's tired.
Why would I leave? I'm not my father. I'm not gonna leave.
Alright, so listen, stream for the rest of this, for the rest of this show, for the this show.
Come on, don't act like y'all don't got the same story.
We're gonna read this nigga a bedtime story. So,
It's called The
yeah.
Man Who Never
Don't
Came Back
worry.
with the Milk. Alright, you ready? You ready? Tyler, once upon a time, there was somebody called your dad. Oh, my boy lactose intolerant? That's how you feel? You should have known he wasn't coming back from there.
That nigga said, I'm going to get some milk. That nigga Tyler ran to the door before he closed it. We don't need it all.
Since we was talking about NBA accolades, let's talk about NFL accolades other than MVP. Who do you got as your defensive player? I know it's gonna be like an obvious one, but like some sleepers as a defensive player of the year.
DeMarcus Lawrence.
Yes, I was gonna. Yo, me and you. This is my nigga right here, bro. DeMarcus
Thomas is
3 interceptions, bro. 3 interceptions. That's so crazy. I feel bad for him, bro. Aaron Donald. This is a sleeper.
Sports so fucking boring.
Davion's been good.
It's nice to see about your He said sports so fucking boring. Says the guy who got a sports stream. Like what? Yeah, real boring.
I said this sport is so fucking boring.
Okay, so let's talk about. Okay, so Tyler wants us to talk about NBA.
I like that one. I like that one.
What you say?
He said Calvin Ridley. I like that.
Calvin Ridley, rookie of the year?
Offensive rookie of the year, yeah.
Oh, okay. For offensive rookie of the year, I'm gonna go Sam Darnold.
And Derwin James on defense. Sam Darnold, yeah, I bet you would take it.
Niggas is not.
That's not changing my mind.
Serious.
Yeah, not changing my mind. And then for you said defensive rookie of the year.
Oh, fuck it, nah. If you got Sam Darnold, then I got Baker Mayfield.
I'm gonna talk to y'all later, and it was a great stream. Huh?
I think they could win 8.
Who you talking about?
Damn. This foul, son. Niggas is.
I ain't here. Why y'all sneak this? I ain't here. Say it again.
That's Tyler, bro.
What he say?
He said how many games the Jets could win this season. How many games do you think the Jets could win?
I think we can get to 6 games if we play 2.
I said 8. That nigga Tyler laughed. Niggas is foul, son.
Tyler's one torn ACL away from being a 3-win team, so just remember that Keenan Allen is not always gonna be there for you. That ACL is gonna wear out sometime. And Phillip Rivers,
I've been a Charger fan for a while now. I know what's gonna happen.
Tyler himself is one broken hand away from ending it all. So.
And let me tell you something, right? I'm gonna tell you right now. When the Chargers are losing, don't put Tyler next to a computer because we know what he can do.
You feel me?
No internet for
Inside jokes. Oh, not that funny,
man.
Nah, really, you fucking ruined it. Let me see what time. So we have 16 minutes in the stream left. So like I said earlier, if you weren't watching, which you probably weren't.
Now, Tyler, do you think the Jets could beat the Colts without Brett saying it? Brett, don't say. I want to know what Brett and Tyler said next week. We play the week after next week. They play the Broncos next week. Yes, in New York.
I got the Jets.
Thank you. There it goes.
Blocking both of y'all phone numbers until that game.
Look, your team is trash, bro. What do you want us to say, bro? What do you want us to say? Your team is trash.
Listen. They got Sam Darnold. That's my reason we went.
That is a good reason, because he's a turnover machine.
He's a turnover machine?
Yeah.
Is he not?
Did you just say Sam Darnold is a turnover machine?
Am I wrong?
Go look. I want you to do this right now, Tyler. Go on Google. Go on the pro statistic thing and tell me Andrew Luck's interceptions every year. I want to see who's a turnover machine now. That's one of the biggest turnover machines in the league.
Why the fuck you gotta bring me fucking in this?
Cause he's talking about.
Why the fuck you doing this to me?
Cause he's talking about.
Why you always do this to me?
Bro, cause he was talking about quarterback, bro.
Andrew Luck is definitely better.
You said it was better? Come on, bro. That's not a question, bro. One is a rookie, and one is trash. So Sam Darnold. Let me stop.
No, I'm talking about. Do you not remember Andrew Luck's rookie year when the Colts went 11-5? Yeah, come on.
Yeah, I do, and they got blown out by the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. Oh, what time? What the time they what?
Oh, they made the playoffs. They made the playoffs with a rookie quarterback. That's something the Jets won't do, right?
How you figure? We're only 1-3. We still got 3 quarters of the way to go.
That's how I figured.
All right, they made the playoffs with a rookie quarterback, but it's not like the rookie quarterback wasn't receiving all-time great like hype. Like it's not like Sam Darnold. They said it's not like It's not like they said Sam Darnold's gonna be one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. But that's what they were saying about Andrew Luck coming out, right? Right or wrong? That's expected of Andrew Luck.
They said that about Sam Darnold too. They said Sam Darnold is a guaranteed.
So who's Sam Darnold's top receiver then? Who's Sam Darnold's top receiver? Have you even who? How many catches he got right now?
Yeah, I can't. You right about that one.
How many fumbles he's had? Who did Andrew Luck have when he first came in the league? Reggie Wayne.
Talk my team up, Tyler. You got me.
Yeah. Come on now.
Like one season,
huh?
He had T.Y. Hilton, so that's it.
But you telling me Reggie Wayne wasn't productive that season? Because I remember him making some pretty big plays for Andrew Luck. Right or right?
Yeah.
And who they had on defense?
I'm loving this.
They didn't have Dwight Freeney. They didn't have Vontae Davis. Balls all over the floor, Mr. Vontae Davis.
Yeah, whoa, he ain't do that on the coach though, but keep talking my team up. Yeah.
Look, see, only Tyler gets hyped about 3 years ago rosters and shit. Yeah.
Fuck you. Right there, bro. Come on, now. Why you gotta violate, bro? Let me live in the moment, bro. It's the last time I watched football.
Hey, all I'm saying, Tyler, is you may not see the progress. Look, Andrew Luck is a great quarterback. We all know that. He's gonna be an all-time great when he finishes his career.
Yeah.
But let's get one thing clear, bro. Sam Darnold doesn't have the offensive line, nor the receivers, nor the defense to win any games this year.
Yeah, that means we winning.
Does Andrew Luck have any of that?
Andrew Luck, this
right
year?
now it's better than
what the Jets have. Like right now, it's better than what the Jets have. No, matter of fact, it's not. The running backs, Andrew Luck has nobody. Some dude named Naeem Hines. Like that's the only guy.
Called 2 touchdowns just last game and 3 and fucking brought us back into the game with Andrew Luck. So.
Yeah. But I mean, he's not a household name. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Tyler, would you like to go to bed early today? The nigga said, yeah, please.
He said, look, it was a long day at work, bro. The best thing that you can do for me right now is get me offline. Oh.
That is far from the best thing you can do. Because I just had to come home and cut my shit on. Like, oh my.
Oh, shit.
I thought this nigga about to... I thought this nigga...
Well, let me give my shameless plug. Let me give my shameless plug. Look, guys. If you're looking for the quality in this stream, definitely that first hour we hit some key points about every topic today, including Monday Night Football, which was a great game. Le'Veon Bell, you know, he's coming back week 7. We talked a lot about that, and we did our front runners for MVP through 4 weeks. Week 7 was the report that came out yesterday.
Week 7 is their bye week. You talking about Le'Veon Bell? That's their bye week. So
he'll be back week 8. He'll be back playing the game with the Steelers and that yellow and black.
He's coming back for week 7 to do like scouting.
Like to do like practice and shit. So, and then we also covered some key MVP front runners through 4 weeks in the NFL, and we also covered some coaches on a hot seat. This last hour has basically been us playing and being ourselves, and our boy Traffic _23 is in here. So
what's up? How y'all feel about the Bengals this year? I know if they make the playoffs, they're gonna lose. But like, how y'all feel about them? How you think the season?
Like, I'm mixed on them specifically because like when me and Tyler was watching the end of that game, bro, Andy Dalton made some pretty fucking horrible throws. But then he made
he ended up winning the game. But
yeah, exactly.
Still.
Then he made one of the best throws in the game to AJ Green in that tight corner. Like,
but then again, and yeah, that's still AJ Green. So like, I'm giving AJ Green most of the credit for that.
But I do think their defense is much improved.
Joe Mixon.
Yeah, Joe Mixon, Giovanni Bernard together back in that backfield. And then we always talk about AJ Green, but he also has the fastest receiver in the league, or the fastest person in the league rather, on his team, and John Ross. And he also has and Tyler Boyd out of Pitt from a couple years back. He's a really good possession receiver. Sadly, Tyler Eifert broke his ankle, which is so sad to see him do that because he's always getting injured. But he has such a high ceiling as a tight end. So I think the Bengals can do well. It just comes down to health. Like if they can stay healthy all year, I think they can have a chance to win that division. But the Ravens are a really great team defensively.
I think that's definitely one of the saddest things in sports, bro. Is when you see talent in a person and they just consistently get injured.
Yeah, exactly. That's the word that hits hard because you don't know these people personally, but you know this is what they wanted their whole life and they worked their hard to get there. They worked their hardest to get there, and then when they get there, it's like injury after injury, and they must feel like, damn, like I have no. And specifically
like
before you guys
Derrick
continue,
Rose, bro. Like that's just so fucked up.
and we all remember the vintage Derrick Rose, but the sad part is that the kids won't ever remember the vintage Derrick Rose. They'll think about him how we think about, let's see, how we think about Grant Hill. Because Grant Hill was a problem when he first came in the league. You feel me?
Yeah.
But us in this generation that we only seen the back end of Grant Hill's career when he was only a role player. But Grant Hill was a problem. He was
pretty good then.
He's a Hall of Famer because he just got a Hall of Fame this year. He's a Hall of Famer. So, like, that's for a reason. You feel me? So, shout out to Grant Hill, bro. But like, we've seen a lot of people lose their career. Greg Oden, don't get it twisted. Greg Oden wasn't a bust, bro. Injuries derailed his career. He would have been one of the best big men in the league ever, bro. And I'm saying that.
Yeah.
You've seen him. So like we've seen a lot of people get derailed.
Give me y'all early playoff predictions for the NFL.
For the NFL,
Yeah.
Colts.
I originally said the Saints. I think it was the Saints versus the Chiefs.
Nah, give me the 1 through 6 on both sides.
1 through 6. Okay. So we'll start with the NFC first. All right. So I'm gonna say for the NFC East, I'm gonna go with the Cowboys.
Colts.
For the NFC North, I'm gonna go with the Packers. I'm gonna go with the Packers for the NFC North. For the NFC South, I'm gonna go with the Saints. And for the NFC West, the Rams, obviously. And then the two wild card teams, I'm gonna go with Philly. Philly might be a wild card team, and I'm gonna go with. This is hard. I'm gonna go with the Titans. The Titans as the next wild card team.
In the NFC?
That's the NFC, and then AFC. For the AFC East.
Wait, before you go any further, when did the Titans move over to the NFC? I might be missing something. The Titans?
Oh, I'm stupid. I'm stupid as hell. My bad. You right. And I said the Jaguars for that. No, I didn't say the Jaguars, right? I'm not. I said the same.
In the NFC, dog.
Okay, you're right. Damn, you niggas treat me tough. Sorry, for the NFC North, I got Baltimore. I don't think Pittsburgh is gonna come back in and win it, and then for my second wild card instead of Tennessee, because they're in the AFC like you said, bitch. I'm gonna go with the Bears.
Me, with the NFC West, I got the Cardinals. Let me stop. Nah, we got the Rams for the NFC South. I'd have to say
the Rams are in the South.
I'm a big fan of. No.
Rams.
No, yeah, you don't like it, right?
I said NFC West. I got the Rams, and I said for the NFC South. And this nigga said the Rams in the South.
No, didn't he just say he said I got the Rams NFC South, right? Didn't he just say that, Tom? Right or right?
Nah,
he said the NFC West. I got the Cardinals. Then he paused for like 12 minutes, and then he said the Rams.
12 minutes. Listen,
like he said Rams, then he said for the NFC South.
You feel me? So all right. Go ahead, Tom.
All right. Oh, anyways, for the NFC South, I mean, I got my boy Drew Brees, one of my favorite quarterbacks. So I think he's gonna be consistent to it. For the NFC North, fuck you, Brett. I think Green Bay could pull it out.
I think the Colts got the NFC.
All right, Tyler, when do you want to get that card, bro? Like, we can do it today. I got some choice words to say to Brett's face. So it's just gonna be a lot of 5-letter words. Colts.
No, that's not even.
Boy, like trash, nigga. Let's go. Anyway, finish your list.
That's tough.
Ain't nobody gonna laugh at my joke. Nigga, fuck y'all niggas.
That wasn't funny, my nigga. Anyway, the NFC East, Cowboys are ass, the Giants are ass, the Redskins are ass, the Eagles are ass. So I don't think anyone comes out of them.
He's going with the Eagles.
Like, no one at all.
He said they bought the Bills.
Damn right. Too.
Nobody coming out.
I got the Eagles. I got the Eagles.
That's the funniest shit. Yo, nobody come out. That's funny.
You know, in the AFC West, it would have been the Chargers. I feel like if y'all didn't break everybody on y'all team ass. Y'all did fuck that up. But, like, I think it's the Chiefs. AFC South, I mean, there's no questions about it. You know, Colts are definitely the front runner.
So the Jaguars.
I mean, I don't see...
Just say what you really mean.
Tyler, go to day, bro.
Just say what you really mean, bro. Cause you putting on a brave face right now, acting like the Colts is nice, bro. Just say what you really mean, bro. The Jaguars.
I know they nice though. So what are you saying?
Now, what aspect of their team is nice? Right now, like off the top of your head.
The nice aspect, bro. They're
okay,
all nice people, bro.
Yeah,
I talked to them all, bro. They all got polite manners. Them niggas is nice, bro.
You're right. Anyway, go ahead,
Nice.
Tyler. Go ahead, Tyler. Go ahead, finish your list. I'll do my AFC East. The Patriots. Shut up.
Someone always wants to disrespect me, and it's just getting too much sometimes.
Yo, what drugs is y'all on?
I don't know, bro. I ain't do no drugs. I'm Heat. It's his called Heat. Oh.
Brett's lying, bro. He gave it to me.
Look. I'm gonna do mine. I'll give you a little more serious answers. I got the Patriots. Coming out the AFC East, right? At the AFC South, I got the Colts. At the AFC West, I got the Chiefs, and at the AFC North, I got the. I don't know. I gotta think.
Yeah. So that's pretty interesting.
I definitely have to say the Browns.
Yeah, about
one win in 2 seasons. I think that's great.
So why my stupid ass said right? So y'all corrected me right about how the Tennessee Titans are not in the AFC, right? So you know who I picked after I picked them?
Yeah, I know.
I said the Ravens. So right now when I'm saying the AFC North, I'm like, who the fuck is in the AFC North? Like I'm not thinking about no teams right now. Like, but nah, I got the Ravens in the AFC North. Titans and the Jets get the wild card spots. I'm just a home guy. Now why you sucking my dick? I just say your team's going in the AFC South, man. Fuck you, nigga.
I know.
Y'all think the Cardinals gonna win a game this season?
Oh yeah. my fault, yeah.
I don't think so.
Nah, I'm not mad at you.
I do.
Let's just say this. I think the Cardinals are the most likely team to go 0-16.
I think they'll beat
man, listen, they play the 49ers. They could beat the weak ass 49ers. If the Chargers can beat them and they miss 3 fucking field goals, then yeah, anyone can beat them.
They also allow 300 yards to a guy I don't even know. So I mean, if he can do that,
and they play them twice, so like that's 2 easy does right there. And they play the Chargers, and the Chargers don't got no players at all. They all got
they got a fat.
That's automatic forfeit.
He started that nigga broke the end zone with that catch.
Bro, listen, Tyler. That nigga, we watched the game, right? Antonio Gates caught a touchdown. That nigga said, "Damn, that's mad nice to see, bro." Because like that's the OG connection. But that nigga right there, that nigga fat. That nigga went fat hard, bro.
Yo, Traffic, keep it real, bro. He not fat, bro. Keep it real, he not fat. Huh?
Damn. How the fuck are we gonna fat shame? We trying to bring him into the club.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, really
exclusive only, bro. Exclusive. So get the fuck out of here,
You not in the club, nigga?
Yeah,
leave the party.
A little bit.
He said a little bit. I got some food, bro. But when you come out here, bro, my mom gonna chef it up, bro. When you come out here, come through, nigga, my mom gonna chef it up. You'll be a part of the club by the time.
Never mind. You want stream.
So okay, so let me close out the stream, y'all. Thank you, everybody. No, we're not for real. I had fun this last hour, but like I said before, if you want to see the serious part of the stream, that first hour from 5 to 6, we talked about all the topics, including Le'Veon Bell, Monday Night Football, MVP candidates, and coaches on the hot seat. For more, tune in to Uncensored Sports tomorrow from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
Oh, that's good.
It's time to go, but like I said, today wasn't perfect either. But I do think we improved in that first hour from yesterday. We really grown a lot since that point.
Shut the fuck up.
And Tyler, I was about to praise him. Tyler really did his due diligence today. I have to give a shout out to him for real because he's really been doing his thing lately. So I wanted to say peace, love, happiness to everybody. Thank you for the support. Tune in tomorrow from 5 to 7. Appreciate it. Say bye, guys.